Welcome back. Rimshots with Sean, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk. Gentlemen, you can't see it. I'm a corporate sellout. I always say it. I'm sponsored by Molson and Coors. It should be like flashing above my head. But that being said, so Santi, one of the things that's happening with me is I'm getting requests to do tracks on albums. And what has happened is somebody did a track with a drum machine and they want a real drummer. So now back in the 80s, the goal was replace the drummer. We want a drum machine. Now it seems to be going back to that. When you're getting the tracks, or how are you guys recording your sessions, and then you're going away and you're working on some things? How's that? How are you breaking down those parts?
No, we start with the machine. That's part of the process. Sometimes O has some ideas of what the drums should sound and things like that. And it's a good way for me to have like a starting point. I'm not afraid of the machine. I can work with the machine.
Right.
We use Click, by the way, so that's something good, because everyone knows what's like their responsibility during the performance, because we use the Click. And so we start with the machine, and based on that, we start to practice the songs. And when I start to try to emulate the machine, I start to mix a little bit what the machine help us to like put in paper, if you want to put it that way. And I really like it, because sometimes the machine has the possibility to challenge you if you are open to that. So for us, that's really good, and that's part of the post-industrial genre and all that. It's like Mad Max, if you will. We embrace technology. We have to accept technology, and personally, as an artist, I use it to manifest or to express the ideas we conceive.
And I love that. I think any drummer should learn to play with a click track, because at some point in time, if you're going to record, you're going to have to do that. I know when I play live, I play with a click track all the time. It's second nature now. I practice with one. I actually, if I'm doing a situation where there's no tracks and nobody can hear the click, I'll play with it anyway myself.
Yeah.
And when you get good at it, and you will know this as a drummer, and you guys will back me up, as other band members. A drummer gets used to a click track, and some people would say there's no feel. I disagree. You can move in and out of it. You can fly around. You can do different things, and it just keeps everything so tight.
Yes. Yeah. There's no way you can be perfect. So you will bring your imperfections, your doubts, your like improvisation, whatever, but you have the reference with the click. So if you mess it up, you're gonna know it. So it's a way to be responsible with your groove.
For sure. So Orlando, I'll throw.
I would like to add that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to add that. Well, something kind of philosophical there, because I mean, if you believe that there is no time and space, and then you're technically, when you use a click track, you're saying that you're determining time at that moment, right? With whatever BPM that you're going to use. There's no such a thing that you lose a feel or a grooving when you have just a reference just for time, because that's how it's been done ever since the beginning of music. You have a click track, and then the click track is just going to tell you should go like around this speed of the BPM, right? But at the same time, every single drummer has his feels. They have their own, the heartbeat is always gonna play an important part into the way that they play. So it's always gonna play in like I said, when there's no time, even though you're determining one, you're gonna be playing not exactly on the perfect time that you're given with the click track. So that's when the perception of the grooving comes about. So I believe that even if people kind of say that, they kind of don't know, they don't understand what's going on. Whenever you play with a click track, because you're always gonna have your own timing. Even though that you're following one, you're still, putting your humanity into what you're playing. You're putting your heart rate, you're putting your the way that you balance your body, the way that you take the sticks and you play with the sticks, the balance that you have with your legs. So it's never gonna be like a machine, even though that people makes it look like it's gonna be something like that, but it's never like that. Because I mean, the human is a human, so you're always gonna have that. You're gonna have your imperfections. You're gonna have everything there.
Well stated. Because, and I got to watch what I'm saying, because Blabbermouth sometimes picks up some of my podcasts, so I got to be nice to them. But there seemed to be this thing a few weeks ago where they were picking on bands that were using backing tracks, and Eddie Trunk got on there and he was, it's fake. My being a player myself that plays with tracks but plays with the click track, it's a skill set all unto itself. That just because you're playing with a track, some people might consider it cheating, but there's not a lot of room for error, and you really have to know what you're doing. Is that a fair statement?
Definitely, because I mean, it's easier to cheat when you don't have a guide. When you don't have a guide, then you can go faster, slower, mid-tempo, whatever you want to do, and then nobody's gonna perceive it. There's nobody's gonna say nothing about it. When you have the dictatorship of a click track, there's no room for error. You have to do it. If you don't do it, everyone is gonna notice. You're gonna notice. Everyone that's playing with you are gonna notice, and they're gonna actually make a mistake because of it. So it's kind of like a skill set, like you said. It's a very difficult and hard, and very you gotta be very, very organized and constant whenever you're playing. So it's something. It's hard. It's not really cheating. It's actually hard. That's how I see it, at least.
Santi raised his hand. You had a point to make there, sir?
Yeah, I think it's like any sport. You have like Orlando said, you have a time and a space. You have to play inside that time and space, and you have a set of rules that you have to follow if you want to play professionally, if you want to put it that way. Same with the click. You have the reference of the click track. That's the speed we're gonna play at. There's sections. You're having a conversation with other musicians, and you're just keeping the time you agreed with your bandmates. The same time every time, and like, sorry for the redundancy, every time you play the songs, and that's it. And if you make a mistake, probably people will notice that mistake easier because the time was consistent. So if you make a mistake, if you rush or you slow down, people will notice if they're really paying attention. If not, nothing's gonna happen.
No question. I mean, people don't really. I mean, you're putting yourself out there, right? And let's call it what it is. I mean, I don't know how it is out in the West Coast of the United States, but where I come from, and I lived in Toronto too for a number of years, fellow musicians might say all the right things, but some of them want to see you fail. They want to see you crash and burn on the stage. They want to go like, And to me, I'm not one of them. If I go, I'm respectful of who I'm watching. But Akko, I mean, were you guys your neck of the woods? Have you experienced that, or you guys are playing these songs and people are showing up just to see you fail? Does that happen?
Sadly, I believe that's a thing.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, there is gonna be a fan or some person watching you looking for that. But because we play with the click and we use this, the tracks, that gave us a very little march, a gap to make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
So in our opinion, it's not like it's not perfect because it's not perfect, right? It's still live music, but for us, it's just rock and roll. And that's I think we are not the first one, and we are not going to be the last one using this. There's no cheating when you are playing your own instrument live in front of a ton of people.
Sure. I mean, the simple fact of the matter is in this day and age, people are used to hearing music a certain way, right? They're used to hearing it in their car or on Spotify and you know, I personally have always disliked going and seeing one of my favorite bands butcher a song or do it totally different. You know, now sometimes you'll hear a live version that's way better in the studio, like, you know, Kiss Alive 2. I like those albums better than the studio versions. That's just me. But you know, for the most part, that's just the way that it goes now. People want to hear everything perfect. So what I want to ask you, and I guess Orlando, I'll ask you first. So you have your EP coming out. What's the plan? Is the plan to go out and try to get some shows under your belt with this thing? What are you guys looking to do?
We're trying to play as much as we can. We actually we booked a tour for fall, so hopefully it's gonna come through and it's gonna be something really good for us. But we're trying to play as much as we can. The situation would be not a problem, but it's always an issue. Is the times we're living in. We don't know what we're gonna be able to do because we want to travel overseas. We want to play Canada. We want to play Europe. We want to play, you know, different places. It's just like depending on, you know, the state of the business, you know, with all the pandemics and all the stuff that are going on right now, and of course the paperwork that some countries are, you know, putting themselves into just to make, you know, music or anything happen inside their countries is going to determine if we're going to be able to do some stuff or not. So that's kind of like still on the play, still on the plans. But I mean, until we know what's going to happen for sure, we don't know like 100% if we're going to be able to do it. But at least I know that for in our part, we're trying to do as much as we can and try to play as much as we can, either here in the United States or anywhere if we can.
I get that. Santi, where are my viewers and my fans and certainly your fans? Where are they going to find you and find you guys more out about your band?
You can go to Zeistencroix.com, and over there you will find all the social media. If you wanna look us on Spotify, Apple Music, like all the platforms, you will find all our albums and EPs over there, and that's pretty much it.
And Akko, I guess we'll throw you a Seattle question, sir. I haven't talked to anybody from Seattle in a while. What's the scene out there? Because there's a connection between where I live and Seattle, and it was when all those bands in the 90s were getting signed. They came out to where I was, and Sub Pop Records started signing a bunch of bands. I wasn't one of the bands that got signed. We were told that we were too good, believe it or not. I ended up moving to Toronto. But what's your music scene like out there now?
So you mean like the rock and
Is
roll
there an
area?
active club circuit? Yeah, is there an active club circuit, or is there shows going on?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty busy city for music, especially downtown in the city, in the main city of Seattle. North, south, and downtown is pretty busy, full of shows, different styles. I don't know about the metal because I think they have here like the bubble, here like the very famous Seattle bubble in here. They are very jealous with the bands in here. That's something that kind of you know, like your mindset take you to a different place because they are very, very, very jealous with the band and the music and everything that is made here, and they always talk and live with the legacy, you know, of band of Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, you know, like Foo Fighter, for example. You know, every time that those bands or these people coming here, they are very, very jealous with that. And different when people from LA like us, even when I live here, I you know, like I've been kind of realizing like, oh, okay, you know, because I am from LA, they embrace the banner like in a different way.
Sure. Sure.
I don't know. It's very famous here, the Bubble of Seattle.
Oh yeah, no, I hear you, and like I say, they call it Halifax, where I am, Little Seattle, and we're on the Eastern Seaboard type thing, and literally there was bands, people were playing 4 or 5 months and getting signed to a record label. That's just kind of what happened out here, gentlemen. I want to thank you so much for your time. This was a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to seeing what your EP does. And let's stay in touch. Want to find out, what goes on with your tour. And, I think it's going to happen. I think that, we've kind of crossed that bridge, if you will, and I think it's going to happen. So thanks a lot, gents.
Thank
Sean,
you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much for
Thank you,
having us.
man.
Peace, fellas.